Okay, so let's practice just because we want to practice this. Let's say that we have x plus 2y plus 3z plus 4w equals 5. And let's say that 6z equals 12. So here's a linear system. So I want you to, now, is this an echelon form? What do you think? Decide and raise your Zoom hand or your real hand if you think it's in echelon form. Then I'll tell you what I think. Okay, we have 1, 2. Yes, okay, well, it is. Yes, it is an echelon form because the leading variable in the first row has no non-zero term under it, and the leading variable here was the last one, so it can't possibly have anything underneath it. Okay, so your intuition might have been that it wasn't an echelon form because you're used to sort of this being like an X and a Y and a Z, sort of a stair-step pattern with nothing mixed. Okay, now if it is an echelon form, then we can identify the free and leading variables. So I want you to do is write down a list of the leading variables and then a list of the free variables. And then raise your hand when you're done and I'll tell you what I think. Okay, we have one person. Okay. Okay, so the leading variables are the only possible leading variables are X and Z because, well, those are the ones that are leading, right? And then all the rest are free. So Y and W are free. So even though X was first and Y was second in the list, it doesn't have X is leading, Y is free, Z is leading, W is free. So they don't have to all be sort of, X and Y don't have to be the leading ones. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is to try to solve this using back substitution and write down the solution set as a set of vectors. And then I'll do that same thing myself, and you can compare your answer with mine. And again, raise your Zoom hand when you're finished. Okay, with one person, oh, 2 people, or maybe, unless for me, is your, okay, 2 or 3 people. Okay, so everyone has an answer. Okay, so what we can do is we do back substitution, we start at the bottom, and we can see that the second equation is solved by Z equals 2, because 6 times 2 is 12. Then we can substitute that in there, we'll get 6 here, and we'll subtract 6 from both sides. So we'll get the equation X plus 2Y plus 4W equals -1. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you can, to be formal, you're going to have a vector, and it's going to have X, Y, Z, and W, 4 components. And what do we know? Well, we know that Z is 2. We don't know anything about Y and W because they're going to be free variables. And then X is this thing here. If we solve this for X, it's going to equal -1, -2Y, -4W. So I should put this over here as I can eliminate the leading variables here, leaving just the free ones. So I have -1, -2Y, -4W. You can't stop here. One of the problems that people had was in the assignment 0 was to stop here. So one way to proceed is to then write this out in columns to sort of make it look easier to do. So we have -1, -2Y, -4W. And down here we have just plus, we have 0 plus 1Y plus 0W for the second column, because there's no W, there's no constant. The next one is 2 plus 0Y plus 0W. And the last one here is 0 plus 0Y plus 1W. Okay, so then I can just read off now the solution to disassembling this with vectors. So the first column here is -1, 0, 2, 0, plus, and I can factor out the Y and have -2, 1, 0, 0, plus W times -4, 0, 0, 1. Okay, that gives the form. Then to write the final solution set, you would write S equals -1, 0, 2. You'd be copying this down, plus Y times -2, 1, 0, 0, plus W times -4, 0, 0, 1, such that the free variables Y and W are any real variable. So this is the answer that we were looking for. What do you think? Is that what you guys got? Or did you have you see, or maybe you have, anyway, maybe you went astray somewhere along here, you stopped, or you didn't get to this final form. This is because what I want you to write there's reasons for this going forward. It's not just pedantic, but there'll be later on reasons for wanting to complete it all the way to this point where you have written it as where there's no variables inside the vectors. The vectors are just constant values there. So you guys, this makes sense? Okay, let me